people join, they can. We'll also be recording the meeting today, so that those who are not able to attend or would like to look back on the meeting after, you're able to do so. And so I'm going to shift. There we go. So our agenda today, the overall theme, or what our overall goal for today is to share our Elevate plan goals and strategies and objectives that we've all worked together over the course of this year, begin to sequence our strategies and discuss opportunities to support implementation. So we'll be going through that today. As far as our agenda, we'll be getting into this space through a very brief guided meditation, just to allow all of us to breathe, take a second to step back and get into the space. And so we'll be doing that in a moment, but I invite you all to turn your video off, relax, close your eyes, do what you need to do to be in this space. And then we'll be doing some brief introductions and pairs to get to know each other better. And then we'll be going over just a brief overview and presentation of our built environment goals, as well as our health equity overarching goals. We'll be doing some activities, some action planning and strategy sequencing activity through breakout rooms. And then after that, we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll end our time together with a larger group discussion on how we can support each other, what is needed to implement the strategies that we discuss in our initial breakout room activities. So thank you again for joining, everyone. I will stop sharing so we can have our meditation.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name is Mia, and as a refresher, I work with the City of Milwaukee's Environmental Collaboration Office, and I'm a co-chair with the Built Environment Action Team. Excited to, let YouTube guide you through a guided meditation this morning. And I know everyone has different levels of comfort with things like this, so please, feel free to join in the way that makes the most sense to you. You can feel free to turn off your screen, or just close your eyes. And it's about a 3-minute meditation. And if it's not something you feel like participating in, I would still just encourage you to take a moment or take it as a moment for a break from your screen. All right, I'm going to begin right now.
Close your eyes and rest your hands on your knees. Bring your attention to the touch of your body on your seat. Feel the weight of your body on your chair or cushion. Make sure that your back is straight and that you're comfortable. Take a few deep breaths. While you're breathing deeply, relax your shoulders, your stomach muscles, the muscles in your face, your hands, and your legs. Let go of all the tightness in your body. Now bring your attention back to your breath. Notice what it feels like as it enters through your nose, goes down through your throat, filling your lungs, and back out through your nose. Notice your stomach and chest rise and fall each time you breathe in and each time you breathe out. And just allow your breathing to be natural and relaxed. Now bring your attention to the feeling of your breath in your nose. Feel your breath as it comes in and goes out. Just focus on this sensation, paying attention to each time you breathe in and each time you breathe out. As you inhale, maybe your breath feels cool. And as you exhale, maybe it feels a little warmer. When your mind wanders, or if you become distracted, just notice what's going on in your head, and then gently bring your attention back to your breath, going in and out. Focus on the feeling of your breath and allow thoughts and feelings to come and go in the background. Now gently bring your attention back to the touch of your body on your seat and open your eyes.
Great. Wonderful. Oh, sorry. Ooh, sorry, folks. I hope that wasn't as, or was not too exciting. Anyway, thank you so much for participating in that short meditation, and just want to say, make sure you thank yourselves for taking a moment to just give yourself a little break. I think right now we're going to be headed into breakout groups, just to do a little bit of one-on-one introductions, get to know each other a little bit better. And I think Hannah or Amanda is going to help guide us into that process.
I'll take that. Thank you so much, Mia, for that. And thanks everyone for joining us this morning. So we want to give everyone a chance to introduce themselves and have a quick conversation with one of their fellow action team members this morning. So we'd like you, so I'm going to send you for 5 minutes out into breakout groups with one, maybe two other people. And I just want you to introduce yourselves and take some time to answer these questions, whatever is resonating with you this morning. So what big challenge do you bring to this gathering? And then what do you hope to get from and give to this group or community? So now I'm going to open up some groups. You should automatically be sent into a pair. And I'm also going to put those questions in the chat. So just take a couple of minutes. And I will see you back here in 5. Hi, Lyd and Zach, are you with us?
Yes, sorry, I just have switching
Hi.
between screens.
No worries. Do you want to just take a break, or would you like we can introduce ourselves in this room, or I can move you over to another room? Whatever you prefer.
This is fine.
Okay, awesome. So I'm Amanda. I'm a public health strategist with the City of Milwaukee Health Department, and I work on the built environment. Tell me about yourself.
Yeah, I am with the American Heart Association, and I work across the state of Wisconsin in our community impact. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's awesome. And then, so do you have any thoughts on either? These are big questions, but is there any like big challenge that you're bringing with you to this gathering this morning?
It's a great question. You know, I'm still here. I'm pretty new to the position still, so kind of in a learning phase and kind of seeing where we can fit in and how we can support kind of these initiatives as a whole. I think that's kind of a lot of the American Heart Association's lane is, you know, how we can support these initiatives, or if there's any resources that we have that we can share out.
So I'm in a similar place then. Yeah, we're trying to figure out like what is the lane and like how can we best support the community and think about health in the built environment as a whole.
Right, right.
And then do you have any other thoughts on the second question about like what do you hope to get from and give to this group or community?
Yeah, and I did see Lynn had come off mute, so I want to give her
Awesome. Hi, Lynn.
there. Well, I'll go ahead and answer that second question. I guess oh, looks like you're driving,
Oh, you
Lynn.
are driving. No, be careful, Lynn.
Yeah. You are on mute, Lynn, just so you know.
But we want you to drive safely.
Yeah.
There we go. I had to pull over because I'm picking up food today because our driver called in. So
Oh,
I'm
no.
wearing 2 hats today.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us anyway. And you, if you
Yes.
need, however you need to participate this morning.
Okay.
Yeah. So how are you doing? What do you bring to this meeting today?
Well, I bring to this meeting, I work for the Gathering, and we provide, meals and associated services across the city of Milwaukee, 4 locations. And food security is insecurity is a huge issue right now. And I guess I bring my expertise in this area, plus my passion for what we're doing and being involved with the community. I really, enjoy being on committees that are doing some good things and are improving our city. So that's kind of who I am. I've been in this job for 4 years. So just before the pandemic, I started, and I've been rolling with the punches ever since.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. And hi, Danielle. We are just doing some quick intros and breakout groups, but thanks for joining us this morning.
Oh, hey, good morning.
We were just talking about what are we bringing with us to the meeting today.
I am bringing a very, very scattered brain, I guess. That's what I'm feeling
That's okay.
today.
Welcome.
And I kind of have to multitask a little bit. I see Lynn's driving, so she's multitasking, but I probably won't be the best participant today, if I'm being honest, but wanted to jump on and listen in.
That's okay. Much appreciated. We're about to go into, I'll let you all know, we're about to go into a section where there'll be a presentation for like 20 to 30 minutes. So that might be better suited for your needs this morning, and then we'll be in bigger groups later. So it'll be okay. But we really appreciate you joining us anyway.
Thanks for understanding.
Yeah. All right. Everyone's coming back in. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. We've got almost everyone. How'd that go for folks? Awesome. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for participating in that. I hope you get to have a good conversation, maybe meet someone new or get to reconnect with someone that you've met before. Would love if folks feel moved to also introduce themselves in the chat so that everyone else in the group can know who's joining us this morning. Feel free to share your names and organization if you're working with an organization, and then maybe one takeaway from the conversation that you just had. Give you a second to do that.
And while people are gradually doing that, I'll share my screen again, and I am going myself and then my colleague Alex will go through just a brief presentation. I'll be just touching on at a very high level where we've been and where we are now, just so that we're all like grounded in the same place. And then Alex will be talking about just some shared language as well as our health equity goals. Let me. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, lovely. Thank you. So our overall vision for our community health improvement plan is a Milwaukee where all people are thriving in safe, healthy, and equitable neighborhoods. And our mission being that our plan, MKE Elevate, supports a Milwaukee where all people are thriving in safe, healthy, and equitable neighborhoods, free from oppression by aligning strategies and building power, partnerships, access to resources, and opportunities for collective advocacy in community identified priority areas. There we go. So then next, I just wanted to provide an overview again of where we've been and where we are now. So our 2023-20 to 28 Community Health Improvement Plan started back in 2022 in our summer and fall time. We had our priority issue survey where we asked community members, residents of those that work, live, play in Milwaukee to help us identify their top health priorities. And so over 2,000 surveys were completed in summer and by Milwaukee residents, and 51% of participants identified the built environment as a top priority. So we just wanted to call that out and acknowledge that this is really important for our community and the residents that live and work and play in Milwaukee. So then in December, our top 3 to 5 priorities for our community health improvement plan were selected. So the built environment being one, maternal and child health, as well as safety and violence prevention. And so in the winter and in February specifically, we had our first action team meeting. We had our second action team meeting in May, and now we are today at our third action team meeting. And so through these, it's really been focused on and continuing to focus on building partnerships, having cross collaboration of different people from different sectors in the same room, ideally working together on strategies that we've identified are important, that we are currently working on, that we'd like to work on together within our 5-year plan. And so next, I'll have Alex just go through a few guiding principles as well as some shared language. So thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Alex, and I'm a public health strategist with the health department focusing on health equity. I also help co-lead MKE Elevate. So I'm super excited to be here and support my colleagues. So we first wanted to talk about some guiding principles and some community agreements. These are important because we can't achieve our vision if we all don't feel safe, supported, and trusting in this space. And then when we're working on the health of our city, some conversations can be emotional, painful, and uncomfortable, but we all won't engage or make ourselves vulnerable without emotional safety and trust. So these guiding principles helps us create an environment that is encompassing of that. So we have step up and step back, respect each other's time and expertise, support each other's learning process. We're all learning. Elevate the expertise of lived experience, ready to listen, to understand, and support. And the number one is remembering our North Star, the health of all people and neighborhoods in Milwaukee. So remembering why we all showed up today, why we're all here today, engaging in these conversations, strategies, and solution is to ultimately make our community healthier. And if there's any disagreements or anything you guys would like to add to this conversation, any other shared agreement you feel is needed for this space, please either go off mute or add it in the chat. Okay, well, it's looking like there is no comments. So if we're all in agreement, can we just get a thumbs up just so we can collectively? Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, sounds good. Thank you, guys. We can move on. So another part about being in this space is shared language. So having shared language refers to people developing understanding amongst themselves based on language, so the words that we're using and the definitions that go along with those words. And the way that this is really important is because it promotes participation, it helps for effective collaboration and community engagement when we're all on the same page, and access to information and building of trust and unity. So the shared language terms that I'll go over today are the ones that you will see throughout the whole community health improvement plan, and the language that will be used during these action meetings, the other action meetings, general member meetings, just overall, what is our shared language as it comes to certain terms revolving around health equity. So we can go through those. So our shared language is anti-racism, which is the active process of identifying and eliminating racism at the individual, organizational, institutional, and cultural levels. And this is done by changing systems, organizational structures, policy, practice, and attitudes so that power is redistributed and shared equitably. Anti-racism is an approach, not an endpoint, and thus provides a useful frame for an organizational change process. The next term is BIPOC, which stands for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color. And this term is specific to the United States and intended to centering the experience of Black and Indigenous groups and demonstrate solidarity between communities of color. Next is equity, which is a just and fair inclusion into a society which all can participate, prosper, and reach their full potential. We got food apartheid, which is limited access to affordable, healthy food driven by systematic racism. Then health equity is a state in which everyone has a fair and just opportunity to attain their highest level of health. Achieving this requires focused and ongoing societal efforts to address historical and contemporary injustices, overcome economic, social, and other obstacles to health and healthcare, and eliminate preventable health disparities. And a couple other terms that we'll be using is justice, which is the process required to move us from an unfair, unequal, and unequitable state to one which is fair, equal, and equitable, depending on the specific content. Justice is a transformative practice that relies on the entire community to respond to past and current harm when it occurs in society. Through justice, we seek a proactive enforcement of policies, practices, and attitudes that produce equitable access, opportunities, treatments, and outcomes for all, regardless of various identities that one holds. Deliberation, which is the progression towards or the conscious and unconscious state of being in which one can freely exist, think, dream, and thrive in a way which operates outside of traditional systems of oppression. Liberation acknowledges history, but does not bind any person to disparate systems or outcomes. Liberation is culture of solidarity, respect, and dignity. We have power, which is the ability to name or define, the ability to decide, the ability to set rule, standard, or policy, the ability to change the rule, standard, or policy to serve your needs, wants, or desires, the ability to influence decision makers to make choices in favor of your cause, issue, or concern. And then Public Health 3.0, which emphasizes collaborative engagement and action that directly affect the social determinants of health inequities. So public health leaders serve as chief health strategists, partnering across multiple sectors and leveraging data and resources to address social, environmental, and economic conditions. The next couple terms are social determinants of health, which are the conditions in the environment where people are born, live, learn, work, play, worship, and age that affects a wide range of health, functioning, and quality of life outcomes and risk. We have systematic racism, which is a practice that perpetuates racial disparity, upholds white supremacy, and serves to the detriment and harm of persons of color and keep them in a negative cycle. Institutional and systematic racism also refers to policies that generate different outcomes for persons of different race. These laws, policies, and practices are not necessarily explicit in monitoring any racial group, mentioning any racial group, but works to create advantages for white persons and disadvantage for people of color. And then thriving, which is a dynamic process that goes beyond well-being to include individual and collective growth in grounding and agency. So those are our shared language throughout our MKE process, as well as our CHIP plan and report. Was there any questions or concerns regarding the shared language component? If not, we can move on. So we thought it's really important because I think we use the term equity a lot, and we really want to show that MKE Elevate is centering and rooted in health equity and equity overall. So MKE Elevate is dedicated to dismantling systems of oppression and addressing the root causes behind structures and systems. We are committed to a health equity public health 3.0 model, so really investing time into the collaboration across sectors throughout our city. We are committed to centering the voices and experiences of BIPOC communities. We are committed to promoting equitable access to resources and opportunities. We're centering equity internally at MHD. So a lot of our staff is going through workforce development as it relates to health equity and internal equity. Our selection of steering committee, every single steering committee member had to submit a proposal, not proposal, but a answer to a question about how they're centering equity, not only in their professional life, but how they're incorporating equity in their personal life as well as our community-based action team co-chair to sit on this committee along with our action team leads at MHD. And for those who might not be familiar with the whole plan, but racism and health equity is the actual overarching priority of MKE Elevate. Health equity is incorporated in every single action group, but there is a plan for the overall racism and health equity, which is led by our steering committee. So the first goal is to increase household income of Black and Hispanic Latinx residents in Milwaukee. And the data points show that the median household for Black residents in Milwaukee was $31,959. And for Hispanic and Latinx residents, it was $43,897, compared to non-white Hispanics who had the median household income of $61,182. There's a typo, sorry. So delete the last 8. And our steering committee wanted to see an increase in job readiness, so career and academic skill building. They wanted to pilot a universal basic income program. So right now we're in the early stages of doing a lot of research. We're working with a couple of partners at DHS to really see like how feasible this is for our city. And then lastly, our steering committee felt like they couldn't have defined strategies on increasing living wage and sustainable household income because we don't know what that is in Milwaukee. So they wanted to take this 5 years to do research to be able to define what an equitable income is for Milwaukee per household. That way, the next 5-year CHIP cycle, we can have those tangible strategies that are rooted in data and research to show that what we propose will make a difference because we did that back end research. Was there any questions on the goal 1 relating to racism and health equity? All right, we can move on to goal 2, which is the raise the life expectancy and quality of life for Black and African American Milwaukee residents. The data shows that the life expectancy for Black residents living in Milwaukee County was just 70 years old, compared to non-white Hispanics at 77.9 years. And these disparities grew even larger during COVID-19, where Black residents had 26% of Milwaukee County's population, yet 52% of COVID-19 related deaths. And again, kind of stemming from that income objective. So they wanted to see an increase in understanding of key drivers of life expectancy. So really understanding what are these causes, like within the 5 years, to create a more deeper understanding to have those tangible strategies for the next 5 years. So they wanted to conduct research to understand this issue and create key drivers in Milwaukee and to understand why this is the narrative. And they also felt there wasn't a great way to conceptualize quality of life measurements. So they wanted to take the 5 years to develop a way to accurately measure quality of life in Milwaukee as it accounts for intersectionality. All right, if there's no other questions, we can move forward. And the final goal of racism and health equity is increased civic engagement and knowledge for Milwaukee residents to participate in local and state level voting. As we know that systematic racism really lies in the policies and the political aspect of Milwaukee, and like how do we tackle that as a city? So we wanted to increase voter registration and voting, so expand voter access, and restore voting rights to people on community supervision for a felony conviction. And then we wanted to expand knowledge about local and state politics. So work on offering a civics 101 training and really understanding and track structural barriers. So understanding like how as a city are we prohibiting or stopping people from even registering to vote in the first place? Like what is the systematic issue that's at large? And then just to advocate and for community. So how do we as a community advocate for policies? How do we get informed and things of that nature? So really, again, looking more at that research side. So in the next 5-year cycle, we can have a little bit more of those concrete strategies. So I think if there is no other questions, or if there is any questions, I will put my email in the chat, and I would love to have a conversation, or if anybody is doing this work currently.
I think you may have cut out Alex, but she'll put her contact information in the chat so that anyone can reach out to her, ask questions, or if you're engaged in this work, but not currently engaged with our CHIP, we would love to have you. Thanks so much, Alex. So now I was going to just briefly remind us all and get us centered on our different objectives for a built environment. And then in our breakout groups that we will be doing next, we'll have some more time to dive into these and start looking at our timeline for our 5 years and start prioritizing some of our strategies on, as a group, what would we like to focus on first. So I'll just briefly go over these. So our first goal is focused on increasing homeownership and improving housing conditions. So our 3 objectives are to improve safety and conditions of existing housing stock. Our second objective is to reduce eviction and improve housing security for renters through eviction prevention, training, and advocacy for tenant rights. And then our third objective is improving pathways to homeownership for Black and Latinx residents and increasing the number of affordable housing units. So we have our strategies listed in the second column. And again, you'll have more time in the breakout groups. If you're not familiar with these, everyone will be able to look through all of the different goals and have some exposure to both housing, transportation, and food access. So I'll go to the next goal, which is focused on transportation. So goal 2 is increasing number, quality, and infrastructure of pedestrian, biking, public transportation, electric vehicles, transportation options, and recreational spaces accessible to all in Milwaukee. So our first objective is making it safe, enjoyable, and convenient to walk, bike, use the transit system, drive, or simply experience our streets and public spaces, no matter one's age or ability. And the second objective is to improve access to recreational and green spaces in under-resourced areas of Milwaukee to promote health and climate resilience. And then thirdly is focused on food access. So reducing food injustice in areas of food apartheid through a combination of community-based interventions, relationship building, and equitable practices. So our 3 objectives are increasing number of centrally located community food hubs. And when we talk about centrally located, we're referring to ideally within centrally located within neighborhoods. So not just specific to the city, but within each neighborhood, which offer a bridge between food producers and consumers, facilitating an asset-based approach for moving food along a supply chain to ensure that all actors within the food system are benefiting. The second objective is to reduce food waste and connect those in need to the excess food in a coordinated and safe way. And then thirdly, increasing number of community-owned food-related projects, programs, businesses, so like locally owned retailers, for example. First off, any questions before I move on? And again, we'll have some time in our breakout groups to discuss those in more detail. And if any questions come up, feel free to put them in the chat as well, and we will address those. So I know a lot of you have heard us talk about implementation partners. We have some implementation partners on the call, but again, just another call out to join us and work with us. And so we'll be sharing our implementation partner agreement form in the chat. And that form has some more additional details on what that partnership could look like. But just overarchingly, it's a commitment to have, someone from your organization regularly attend action team meetings and regularly be in the space and collaborate with us. Keeping, the health department as well as our action team members and action teams updated on projects that are being worked on as it aligns with the strategies. And a willingness to share, opportunities, ask for support as it relates to implementing strategies. And in return, we will pass opportunities along and lift up the work that everyone is doing. So just wanted to call this out, and we'll be sharing that form in the chat. So for those of you that haven't had the opportunity to look at it, you can review it. And if there's any questions or if there's interest and you'd like to schedule a meeting with myself or Amanda, we'd be more than happy to talk with you more about that opportunity. And so what's next? So we're hoping to have a report publicly released by late August, early September, and we'll be sharing that via community outreach. We're currently having our action teams now and next week, and then moving forward in November will be our next quarterly action team meeting. Amanda or anyone else, was there anything as far as next steps go that I missed or that we wanted to highlight before we move on to our breakout groups?
This looks great to me.
Okay. Hannah, can I just share one thing?
Yes, please.
So we just talked to Marcus yesterday. He's our new health strategy director, and he just shared that it would be great to have like a lunch where we can launch the report. So we're actually thinking of having our end of year meeting in December be an additional launch to share the report and gather together in person.
That's wonderful. So we'll be sharing more about that after our meeting today. We'll have follow-up email with information, and we'll definitely share more about that too. Thanks, Annika. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Hannah. Thanks, Annika, and everyone, and Alex, everyone who's presented so far. So now we're going to give everyone a chance to take a little bit of a closer look at some of the strategies and really focus on doing a little bit of action planning and sequencing. So we're going to break out into 3 different groups to look at the different strategies for our built environment goals. And we're going to assign which should be prioritized in year 1, which might be prioritized in years 2 and 3, and then which should be prioritized in year 5. So think about what is the right distribution. What are ones that we need to do before we can work on some of the other goals? Or what do we have the capacity to really work on in the first year? All of those different considerations, and we want and we're going to have a conversation to think about what are the factors that are going into this. But we're going to be using the tool Jamboard for this, which we've used in a couple of our previous meetings, but you'll have a facilitator in each group that'll go through how to use this board. In this, you'll find screens that already have all of the strategies listed out. And so you'll have a chance to take a look at and read them and then drag some of the cards over yourself. So we're going to go out into 3 different groups. Myself, Hannah, and Mia are going to be the facilitators for each of your groups. And everyone's going to be assigned randomly into one of these 3 groups, and we'll have about 20 minutes to have a conversation. So you'll take the first couple of minutes to get yourself familiar with the different goals and strategies, and then your facilitator will guide you through the conversation that we'll have together as a group. Before we go, are there any questions? And I'm going to drop some links while we're at it. I'm not hearing any. So I think we'll go. The facilitators in your breakout groups will also be able to answer any questions as we go about. And then I'm just going to ask Alex. It might prompt you to join a group, but just stay out so you can man the room for us. Thanks, everyone, and I will see you soon. All right, Alex, you got it?
Yep, I got it. You're all good.
Cool. I'm going to join.
Hello. So everybody is in breakout groups. So do you mind if were you in one?
Yeah, I think I was in two.
Okay, I will send you back over.
Thank you.
I think people will slowly be coming back to the larger group. We're actually going to be doing a 5-minute break. That was after this discussion. We'll be coming back in a few minutes. So if you need to take your break now and start that early, you are more than welcome to. But we'll probably be returning before 11:10. So if you would like to start your break early, take a moment to eat a snack, get a drink, use the restroom, just get up and stretch. We'll be back as a group before 11:10.
Awesome. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had some fruitful conversations. I know I did, and even though our group got cut off at the end, thanks so much, everyone, for your time and your thoughts. Had a really good conversation. We are going to pause quickly before we transition into our next activity. Give everyone a couple minutes to take a stretch and breathing break. So we will come back together in 5 minutes at 11:09.
Quick question, Amanda.
Yes.
Are those jam boards going to stay open for the rest of today through the end of the week? How long are folks going to have to keep moving those sticky notes?
Yes, those will stay open. We'll include, you can keep moving them around throughout the rest of this meeting or today. We'll also include them in our follow-up meeting notes. So they'll probably close at the end of next week, actually. So you'll have some time to live with those and think about and move things around. And feel free to add comments. Thanks, Melissa. And with that, break.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for in my breakout group, we had such a wonderful discussion.
You just muted yourself, Anna?
Perfect. Here I am. I'm like clicking all around. I just wanted to thank everyone for, showing up today and continue to show up in those breakout groups. And we had a really lovely discussion in my group, and it sounds like a lot of the other groups had really great discussions. So I hope this is the beginning of continuing to talk about what our timeline is going to look like for the next 5 years. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'd love to continue our conversation from the breakout groups into a larger group discussion. So technology is fun. Okay. And multitasking. Okay, here we go. So I'd like to have a larger group discussion about, the strategies that we have prioritized or that your group prioritized in year one. What type of support is needed for successfully implementing those strategies? And of course, that might look different across the different strategies, but in general, what support is needed? So that could be, data gathering, for example. And if there are specific examples of what type of data, we'd love to hear those. Is it conducting more research? Is it, building partnerships? Is it capacity building? Are there organizations or partners that are not being captured, in this meeting? And of course there are not. We are not encompassing all organizations. So we definitely would love to grow our network, but would that help us achieve the strategies that we've identified in year one? Are there successful models from other cities that have been implemented that we should look at, or other examples across sectors that have been really successful, and examples or resources that you'd like to share? So we definitely would love to hear those. And so I will be navigating to the same Jamboard that we actually worked on. So I'll be sharing my screen, and we can share that Jamboard again in the chat so that you all can navigate to the Jamboard and add your ideas or thoughts. So I think for the first few minutes, feel free to add those on your own. And then as a group, we can share what we have added, or if there's questions, or if you'd like to share out loud, you can do that as well. Well, thanks, Amanda. So we can go to... And so we can share the Jamboard link again, and then you all can add to those sticky notes and write your thoughts on what type of support, some of the examples I gave, others that you could think of, on what do we need to successfully implement those strategies. So I'll put the link in the chat. And it's the same Jamboard that we were working on earlier. So feel free to take a few minutes to jot down your thoughts. If you would prefer to unmute and say ideas out loud, Amanda or myself can write those down in the sticky notes, but feel free just to take a few minutes to write down some thoughts. And if we need more sticky notes, we can add those too. And then because it's the same Jamboard that we were using earlier, feel free at the top of the screen to go click the left arrow at the top and remind yourself of those different strategies that were prioritized in year one, to help us think through, what support would be needed to successfully implement those.
If you have a particular goal in mind, perhaps put that at the beginning. For example, housing, we need more supports around XYZ or transpo, or, if you've got something in mind. I know the Post-its don't give unlimited space, but maybe try to just indicate what you're talking about.
That's a good idea. Thank you. And I was starting to read through, and some you could definitely tell, but yes, that's definitely helpful. Or even like an H for housing, F for food, if you don't have room, and like T for transportation. So many good ideas are coming through. Thanks so much, everyone. We have a few minutes for some additional thoughts, and we can add some more sticky notes too. And again, this can be something that you can continue to add to. But would anyone if anyone would like to unmute and expand on their thought, or if you're seeing a sticky note and would like to, ask a question, or if you have just any additional reactions, we'd love to hear. So we'll give a few more minutes. Well, you all can continue to add comments and notes to specific supports that would be needed to implement some of these initial strategies. But something else I'd like to highlight and take some time to dive in. If we go to, Amanda, if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, thank you. So then specifically diving into the theme of data, I'd like just to take some time in helping us move us forward in some of our other strategies. And I think this is another space where we can start having these conversations. So for the first one, key metrics that we should be tracking, that, maybe there's organizations that are, but it would be nice to be highlighted, what metrics would be important to track to help us move these strategies forward. And then in the second column with the green sticky notes, what type of data does your organization already have or track within housing, transportation, and nutrition, or health or food related data? And I think for these two, specifying if we're talking about housing, transportation, or food and nutrition would be helpful. And then in the third column with those blue sticky notes, what data related to housing, transportation, food and nutrition do you wish that you had? And I think this can help guide us and help us understand, where we're at, what partnerships need to be made, if data sharing is available, how we can share data better. And I think this, for some of our strategies that we've outlined within our year one, this might be, one of a few different components that will help move some of that work forward. So again, feel free to take some time to add thoughts here, add what your organization's tracking or what you wish you had access to or wish that you could track. And I think, again, this can help out with collaboration across our different sectors as well. And again, feel free to unmute if you feel comfortable or would like to share, but otherwise you can continue typing your thoughts. So I'll give a few more moments for this too. See so many great ideas. I'll add some more sticky notes too in case we need some more.
Quick question, or maybe just a thought. I saw someone on the food said like food funding over time is like a key metric to track. And I think that's really interesting, especially as we think about like the resource flows that are going towards these important public health priorities. Has anyone like done any work to track like the funding that are going towards some of these specific priorities, or know of anyone that's doing a good job at that? And would folks be interested in exploring that? I don't know if anyone has thoughts now, or we can go offline and just, I think that's an interesting point that could be useful across the priorities.
In the middle section, E. Olson did something really great there by indicating who they are that has that data. If you want to maybe add your name, initials, or your organization or something to indicate who you are that has the trail counts or the snap sales or whatever it is, so folks know who to reach out to.
Yes, thanks so much, Melissa. Yeah, I do appreciate that. And if this doesn't capture, fully, I think this can be like the start of a conversation too, to start talking about what organizations have, what type of data, and then we can continue having those conversations too. So we really, really appreciate you going through this exercise and just starting to think about and have these conversations, especially in a way where we have different sectors coming together and different people in the same room that might not always get the chance to be in the same room or talk about the type of data that they have or wish that they could have too. So again, for this, like I've said a few times, you'll have access to this Jamboard and you can continue adding to it. And then again, we'll compile all of this and share it to you all so that we have a comprehensive list of what was shared today.
And the third column here about what data you wish you had ties in with that previous slide about what supports you need. So if you're an organization that could be doing more, if you had data supports or something along those lines, include those specific requests too, because I know some folks could be doing a lot more if they just had the numbers.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, take 15 more seconds to finish up any last thoughts. But again, this won't be closed. You'll have a chance to add things later.
This is Al. I put my sticky in the wrong one.
Oh, no.
That's okay. What do you need help with?
The one about the home buying program, we have data to share. I put it on the previous. You can go to what we have already. It's an orange sticker, I think it is. I left it on. Well, if you see it, that's where it belongs.
Okay.
You're good.
We have data from our first home buyers program.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you. All good.
So it's on slide 10.
It's cool. We should have practiced more on this.
We're just throwing you into it, and you can practice and you'll be better at our next meeting.
Right, exactly.
Speaking of that, I gotta go to my next meeting. Thank
Awesome.
you, ladies. Thank you, ladies.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. We're going to
start.
start wrapping up anyway. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us today. Had a couple of just quick announcements. So just recapping again at the beginning of the meeting, we mentioned our next meeting will be on November 16th at 10 a.m. So please register and join us for that. While I'm also sharing these other announcements, I invite folks to start thinking and post in the chat if you have any upcoming events or activities that you want to share with the whole group. Feel free to share it now, and then we'll take all of those and share them in our next newsletter in the follow-up of the meeting as well. And continue to send us events that are going on so we can share it out to the rest of our action team and the folks that are on our newsletter. So let us know if you have anything going on that you want to share. Also, we are still looking for additional implementation partners. So if you were here and are really excited about the work that we're doing and see how it aligns with your organization's works, please make sure to reach out to us or fill out the implementation partner agreement form. We would love to get you officially signed on. And thank you so much to everyone who has signed on to be an implementation partner. We can only do this work together. So really appreciate everyone's work. And then we will send out information about that upcoming lunch to launch the official report. It's been a long road to get there, and so we're really excited to share it with the community. And then we also invite you to invite more colleagues and partners to continue to join our action team as an implementation partner. We hope to keep growing, creating a real movement to create a healthy, built-here environment for the city of Milwaukee. And then our next steps are going to be, we're going to really work on focusing on what we want to start implementing to accomplish 1 to 2 items by the end of the year. So really looking forward to working together to get action moving and get started. I see a question. Is there registration for a link for the food conference in September? We can share that out in our newsletter. Thanks. Anyone else have any other announcements that they want to share before we wrap up?
Yes, Covering Wisconsin is having their annual, hello there, Covering Wisconsin is having their annual conference. And I wanted to share that out to partners and individuals who are interested. So I'll send that also to you, and thank you again for having me. This was a great experience.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Good. Yes. And I appreciate you lifting that up. So anyone else who has events or things they'd like to share, please send them to us and we'll get that out to the whole group. Well, thanks so much, everyone. It was lovely seeing you this morning, and we will all talk again soon. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.